Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the graduates of the APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program. My name is Craig Montgomery, Supervisory Training Specialist of Leadership Development with Plant Protection and Quarantine at the Professional Development Center here in Frederick, Maryland, as well as your Master of Ceremonies for the APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program Graduation Ceremony, Class of 2013. First off, I'd like to congratulate and also recognize the graduating class today on your time and effort you devoted to this program for the past 9 months, all while attending to your normal duties and responsibilities. Through your dedication and hard work, you have now obtained the core leadership competencies and skills needed to successfully advance through leadership positions in our agency. When you volunteered for this opportunity, you made a clear choice. You chose to further your commitment to public service. You chose to hone your leadership skills, and you chose to employ your knowledge for the betterment of both APHIS as well as your own professional growth. On behalf of the ALDP team, I thank you for making that choice. Now you get to enjoy your own graduation ceremony. Just a bit of administrative announcement. In the lower left-hand corner, you will see a box that is titled ALDP Graduation Program. That is the program that we'll be following today. If you don't see that, you may see it here shortly. So at this point, I want to take this opportunity to move through our agenda and take this opportunity really to recognize the APHIS Advanced Leadership Development training staff. Their dedication and passion to provide high-quality work, excellence, customer service, and technical and leadership expertise really embodies this program. So please make sure that you have unmuted your computer speakers at this time. And by doing so, I'd like to present to you the ALDP team.
Introducing Craig Montgomery, Supervisory Training Specialist, ALDP Program Manager, and Application Process. Introducing Todd Zasdoff, Executive Consultant, Orange Team Learning Assistant, Authenticity and Trust Instructor, and Inside Out Coaching Grow Model Instructor. Introducing Veronica Zabala, Senior Training Specialist, Orange Team Learning Assistant, and Virtual Graduation. Introducing Pandy Tomko, Training Specialist, Yellow Team Learning Assistant, and Situational Leadership 2 Instructor. Introducing Sarah Trujillo, Training Specialist, Yellow Team Learning Assistant, Leveraging Diversity Instructor, and Virtual Graduation. Introducing Gary Mitchell, Training Specialist, Purple Team Learning Assistant, Employee Engagement Instructor, and Vision and Strategy Instructor. Introducing Brooke Diver, Training Specialist, Purple Team Learning Assistant, and Employee Engagement Presentations. Introducing Linda Barone, Training Technician, Webinar Producer, Assessment Technician, and Virtual Graduation. Introducing Tracy Svalina, Training Technician, Moodle Administration, Webinar Producer, and Virtual Graduation. Introducing Katie Williams, Training Technician, Lead Training Technician, Application Processing, and Webinar Producer.
Again, these individuals represent the APHIS training community for the APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program. We're going to ask at this time Mr. Patrick McFall, who's the Director of the Software Services and Delivery with APHIS, to join us next. He is with Veterinary Services and also the ALDP class speaker to provide remarks on behalf of the graduating class. Mr. McFall?
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate your introduction extremely. Speaking of extremely, I am extremely honored and humbled by my class's selection of me to be their spokesperson. I hope at the end of this presentation they still feel I was a good choice, and to put it in one of my classmates, Michael McDole's words, I do them proud. In his book, The 17 Irrefutable Laws of Teamwork, speaker, pastor, and author of numerous leadership books, John C. Maxwell once said, The single biggest way to impact an organization is to focus on leadership development. There is almost no limit to the potential of an organization that recruits good people, raises them up as leaders, and continually develops them.
Good.
In my adult working life, I've had the opportunity to be an employee in many organizations that say they want to build leaders. Watching their actions, I've found the opposite to be true. Fewer of them follow through on their statements by grooming their leaders from within. I'm pleased to say I work for an organization like APHIS that walks the walk and puts leadership growth at the forefront. That is extremely commendable. When I first heard of the opportunity to attend this course, I did some checking around. I found that many others had an interest to attend as I did, but when the dust settled and the smoke cleared, there were fewer that were committed to take on the 9-month grind and the task that lay before them. 21 of us stepped up to the line and made the commitment to push forward. 19 of us are on the line today and were able to complete this journey, and for that, I believe it took commitment. Kenneth Blanchard, the guru of our situational leadership course and famed author of numerous leadership books like the 1 Minute Manager series, once said, "There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results." Although we fully committed to undertake, follow through, and finish this course, it also took a commitment from others to make this possible. And I'd like to take a moment on behalf of the 2013 APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program class to say a special thanks to the APHIS and executive leadership team for providing us this opportunity, our supervisors for adjusting schedules, our colleagues and staff that picked up the slack for us in our absence, and most importantly, our families for their support as we struggled to balance family, all the while trying to complete numerous writings and projects over the last year. During our 9 months together, this group of new APHIS leaders has had the opportunity to try and master the many leadership skills and competencies put forth. Competencies such as creativity and innovation, partnering, political savvy, strategic thinking, and technology management. We were able to take courses like leadership perspectives, creativity in the workplace, inside out, and peer coaching. We were introduced to action learning and covered leveraging diversity, employee empowerment, authenticity, and trust. And then we continued up our action learning with vision and strategy, creating high-performance organizations, partnering in politics, as well as risk communications. I know there's quite a few of us that remember that reporter standing there when we did the mock interview with the lights blaring on us, sticking that microphone in our face. That was fun. During this time, we were able to take the Myers-Briggs test as well. And I'm very proud to say it was determined that I was not an introverted person. Matter of fact, if you talk to the class, they'll tell you I'm not even close to that. All of these courses and competencies are great importance to a new leader, but there are two in my mind which stood head and shoulders above the rest. They are situational and adaptive leadership. I believe in today's environment, these are two areas leaders should know intimately. Think about it. In this day and age of government budget cuts, continuing resolutions, and sequestration, being a situational and adaptive leader is not only important, but essential. We as new leaders are going to have to adapt to many different areas and interact with numerous people from different backgrounds and areas of responsibility. We will have to adapt in handling our personnel when they come to us for time off and we're short resources, or when they approach us to complain and ask for a promotion because they've been overloaded with work caused by our shortages. Resource shortages, I might add, caused by our inability to hire because of sequestration or other budget cuts. The question, my classmates, you may be asking yourself today is, how am I going to lead or manage in this environment? What traits do I need to be more effective? While preparing for this presentation, I came across a press release from the Boston Consulting Group, which discussed how adaptive leadership teams share 5 winning traits. I'd like to take a moment to share this report with you. The report goes on to describe how in a volatile business environment, and I would say the one we're in today is a volatile environment, top teams must be more than high-performing. To win in the marketplace, they also need to adapt and thrive regardless of the turbulence they face. The report continues by pointing out that most media coverages focus on the role of the heroic leader in managing tremendous volatility and uncertainty, painting those leaders that succeed with a halo, and in the case of failure, those others with horns. Rarely do observers consider that the outcome was a result of the composition and the adaptive capacity of the entire leadership team, not just one person. To consistently win in turbulent times, effective leaders carefully assemble highly adaptive leadership teams that shape, not just react to their environment. I believe this is what APHIS is attempting to do with us today and those that follow us. The BCG study has found that these adaptive leadership teams have 5 surprising traits, the special sauce, so to speak, that strongly differentiates average from top-tier performers. Teams with these traits tend to outperform their peers. That is, in the exact same context, the more adaptive leadership teams will normally find a way to win in today's marketplace. The report titled Winning Practices of Adaptive Leadership Teams studied nearly 100 executive members of senior leadership teams in a diverse sample of companies. The results showed that adaptive leadership teams share 5 traits: one voice, sense and respond capacity, information processing, freedom within a framework, and boundary and fluidity. In addition, the study explored concrete best practices and approaches that CEOs use to heighten the adaptive capacity of their senior leadership teams, including numerous quotes from interviews of top executives. Executives such as Rosalinda Torres, global head of BCG's leadership practice and co-author of the report, who stated traits like one voice and freedom within a framework are more than slogans with most adaptive teams. They describe the essence of a leadership team's adaptive capacity to influence an uncertain business context rather than just be a victim of volatility. Those 5 traits, my classmates, are not just traits for private sector. Businesses are for private sector businesses. They are also for government leaders as well, and they're traits for you as the new leaders of APHIS. Those are 5 traits we learn to carry with us today. They're also traits that have come through examples from our own current leaders as well, not just in the same words used in the BCG report. Think of the changes our administrator, Kevin Shea, is trying to make by continuing to tell us that we're not just PPQ. We're not just BS or BRS or WS. We are one APHIS. Or the example that we heard for ourselves that was given to us by Dr. John Clifford, the Veterinary Services Deputy Administrator, when he said in our January presentation to our class, and I paraphrase, "I've had many orders from my superiors that I did not agree with. But after the arguments were done and the dust had settled, I passed them down to my employees as if they were my own." Never once did we hear Dr. Clifford say he needed to do something because his boss had told him to do it. Yes, I believe those 2 examples are clearly what the report means by one voice. I'm sure you've seen examples of these traits in other APHIS leaders, either through their actions or their words. But remember, it's not just our leaders we learn from. We have also had the opportunity over the past 9 months to learn leadership from our own peers. Many of you have passed on wisdom from leadership challenges that in some cases succeeded, and in others, which I believe are just as important, challenges that failed. Working with each of you during the course, there have been a multitude of examples and chances to learn leadership. Examples that were expressed in your writing and in our face-to-face meetings. I'd like to take a moment right now to share some of those examples with you. One of my classmates spoke of this class being a safe haven to experiment in thoughts and actions, to get feedback that normally doesn't come in the day-to-day operating environment. Think about that. What better chance do you have to gain leadership knowledge than practicing it with other leaders and getting their feedback? Another added, meeting and interacting with future leaders from all APHIS programs spanning the U.S. and the globe, I think I've built friendships and relationships with almost everyone in this class. These will be important sources of information and key contacts for me later on. Still another said, I was very pleased to have been in the ALDP. Unlike traditional training, ALDP takes place over several months and presents a variety of management tools and perspectives to apply on the job. There is also the added benefit of developing a rapport with your ALDP colleagues. I felt that I learned as much from my peers as I did from the formal instruction. I found that I've observed a lot more of the content compared to a typical one-week classroom course. There was also a classmate who wrote their developmental opportunity in such a way that leads the reader to believe they had failed. To you I say, maybe from your standpoint, but from talking to others, I think I can say You succeeded in more ways than you think. Li Xiaoxie, a Chinese revolutionary statesman and theorist, and I might add was before Mao and was actually considered a capitalist in his time, once said, "There is no such thing as a perfect leader, either in the past or the present, in China or elsewhere. If there is one, he is only pretending, like a pig inserting scallions in its nose in an effort to look like an elephant." Yeah, I'm from veterinary services, and I felt I had an obligation to at least bring some animals into the conversation. On a serious note, though, we all have to understand that we are not perfect. And as much as we want everything we touch to turn golden, it won't always work out that way. Going back to my previous observations, I need to say, as sure as I stand and speak in front of you today, I'm sure it is not our successes, but most importantly, from our failure that we will learn to adapt and then succeed. If these 9 months have taught us anything, it was to take this opportunity to learn and become more adaptive. In some cases, we took our time together. We've taken that adaptation to extreme. We've adapted to attending this course with a quiet, stoic reserve that is normally found in the guards at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We've adapted to being on web conferences from some unique and diverse places around the world, places like earthquake-ravaged country of Haiti, Roberto, the brown snake-infested island of Guam, Mark Hall, the Middle Eastern country of Pakistan, David Ashford, and I'm not forgetting you in Brasilia, Mark, not at all. And of course, there was also the beach of the Los Llanos Marriott Resorts in Heredera, Costa Rica while on vacation. That was me. Try and explain that one to my wife. I don't want to leave you believing this course has been all fun and roses or that we thought the class was perfect as possible and had no room for improvement. There was one standard thing for my classmates that I'll share with you today in their words. One classmate stated, "I realize that we would have had a richer experience if we had had 4 face-to-face sessions as previous classes had, but I still felt that I've benefited considerably from taking this course." Another shared, "I don't think the online format was very useful or informative. I do better with hands-on, in-person presentations. I think we were negatively impacted by not having more interaction with each other. It hurts in terms of networking and camaraderie." Lack of face-to-face time, another said, had a negative impact on group dynamics and the learning and networking that comes from time together. Even the webinars were difficult in our office setting with the phones ringing, emails dinging, and people tapping on your door wanting a moment of your time. I'm sure you can all see the path that this is taking. I believe I speak for the class when I say leadership training comes in many different forms. But we believe one of the most important forms, and one that should not be removed from this course, is the face-to-face meetings. This is where leaders can share successes and failures that allow others to truly learn from the past and to pay it forward to our future. Looking to close out this presentation, I thought about what I would do or what I would say. Fortunately, I have the opportunity and the honor to use the words of a classmate, Ms. Elizabeth Pennico from PPQ, and I paraphrase. "We appreciate the show of support in us evidenced by APHIS's investment in this training. There have been days we may have regretted signing up for this course, but overall we are grateful we had this opportunity and will be responsible for disseminating what we have learned going forward." So my classmates, I say, we have adapted to many things during these past 9 months, and most will continue to adapt while we grow as leaders in APHIS. It is our hope that the adaptive skills we've learned, practiced, and continue to hone today will help carry us forward to success in an environment that is truly changing as we speak. To my classmates, I close with a quote from the former Senator from North Carolina, Samuel J. Ervin. "A person who is worthy of being a leader wants power not for himself, but in order to be of service." Please remember that you're not in this for you. You're in this to make APHIS an even better and more efficient organization for your employees, for your peers, for our leaders, and most importantly, for the taxpayer. Again, I want to thank you for the humbling honor and opportunity to be your voice as we travel down the path to become the new voices of one APHIS. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fall, and thank you for providing those remarks on behalf of the graduating class here today. Very well put, and a 9-month culmination into a very short span there. Well done. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Kevin Shea, our Acting APHIS Administrator, to address the graduates here today. Mr. Shea?
Well, thanks very much, Craig. We're adjusting to the new technology here. I heard the previous speaker talk about not losing the value of face-to-face meetings for classes like this in the future. I can't help but think that I've been involved in a class like this many, many years ago, and we had several face-to-face meetings. And it looks like the times have changed and the technology has changed, but probably most of all the budget has changed. It seems to make that less likely. And I echo what he said, that we need to try to find better ways to make sure we can get together. I want to congratulate everybody who's been in the class. You're the third graduating class. You should be very proud of that. And I appreciate that you are making these efforts to become leaders in APHIS. And I want to thank Craig Montgomery especially, the head of the program, and his staff for all the hard work that you have put in. And thank you so much. It's an important time for leadership. It always is, but it seems like more now than ever. And it's about so many things, and the budget is driving very many things. We just found out what our appropriation would be for this fiscal year, and it's about $60 million less than we had last year. That's about 7.5% less than we had last year. And we are now down $145 million and about 16 or 17% since just 3 years ago. And if there's ever a time for adaptive leadership, the kind of leadership you've been focusing on, this is certainly it. How do we adapt to these changing realities? For a long time, you may not have seen that way, we were a pretty generously funded agency. We had lots of money in the annual appropriation. It seemed like lots of emergencies happened that funded programs here. And of course, we assess and collect quite a bit of user fees. But things have changed dramatically here in the last few years, and we've had to adapt in so many ways. We have now, best I can figure, somewhere between 600 and 700 fewer people working for APHIS than we did just 2 years ago. All of our cooperating partners, whether they're in states or local governments, in industry, all of those we rely on so much, we're providing less money too. So many things have changed. Just the way we do business every day. The fact that I'm speaking to you through this new technology, and all of you are listening through this new technology, rather than us all being in a room together and sharing the time and being able to speak. That's another example of how we're doing things differently. But it's the price of doing business today. And it's the price of doing business and preserving our mission. We have a really noble mission. I don't know how many of you ever noticed the USDA seal. If you ever looked at it very closely in very small letters, it says that agriculture is the foundation of manufacture and commerce. And in the 21st century, you might add to that, it's probably also the foundation of energy independence. It's the foundation of feeding a hungry world. And so it seems to me that agriculture is more important than ever. And if agriculture is the foundation of all these things, agriculture has to be healthy. And that's what we do. Without a healthy base of agriculture, whether it's animal or plant, and whether we're protecting those animals or plants from pests, diseases, or predators, or even our additional mission of providing care for animals covered by the Horse Protection Act and the Animal Welfare Act, we've got an incredibly important mission. And we need great leaders to carry out that mission. And we know that we can't continue doing everything the way we did in the past. So again, adaptive leadership is so important. And I applaud you for using adaptive leadership as your mode of learning and what we're looking forward to in the future. There's a Federal News Radio survey. For those of you who are on the radio, on the screen today and listening from around the country, indeed around the world, Washington, D.C. is probably the only place where there's a radio station devoted only to federal government news. But there's a Federal News Radio station. They did a survey in January. and they identified the 3 top morale killers for federal employees. And they were pay freezes, ineffective leadership, and the Fed bashing, the criticism that you hear in the media or from politicians. Those were the 3 things that were rated the top 3 morale killers. We can't do too much about the pay issue. That's in the hands of the Congress. We can't do all that much about stopping people from bashing us, other than doing a great job and proving them wrong. But the one thing we can do something about, perhaps, is ineffective leadership. And ineffective leadership was, in fact, the #1 morale killer in this survey. And we have a little verification of that right here in APHIS. Last year, APHIS employees participated in the Employee Viewpoint Survey. And part of that survey, employees responded and rated senior leaders. Now, I'm one of those now, and hopefully all of you will be one day. And the class you're just graduating from will lead you toward that. But this Employee Viewpoint Survey indicated that majority of employees were not satisfied with the policies and practices of senior leaders. Now, we can sort of explain that away a little bit if we choose, and some of my colleagues on the management team and I had that conversation. We said things like, well, only 20% of the people responded, or, well, it's the pay freeze, or it's the Fed bashing, all this sorts of things. But we wanted to do something about it, make things better. And the first step we did was take what's called a pulse survey, a very brief questionnaire that followed up on the Employee Viewpoint Survey. And hopefully many of you participated in that. And you probably did, because over 60% of the employees responded to the Employee Viewpoint Survey. And the pulse survey simply confirmed what the Employee Viewpoint Survey said. The numbers are pretty much the same. The majority of APHIS employees, some more than others, some in some programs more than others, didn't have a lot of confidence in policies and practices of senior leaders. So we need to do something about that. We're going to be reaching out to employees, trying to communicate better. But, you know, there's only so much that the senior leadership can do. And leadership has to move throughout the organization. So I'm asking you today, as emerging leaders graduating from this class, to be part of that communication, to go out of your way to find out more about what's happening, and when you hear messages from the senior leadership, to pass those through to your leadership, and pass those through your colleagues, and those of you who are already supervisors, to pass it on to the employees that you supervise. Communication always rates high as one of the issues on these surveys. And we're trying hard to reach out more, but we need everyone to participate in that. And so I really hope that you can do that. Let me talk a little bit more about the importance that you will play in broader APHIS as we go ahead. And understand part of what you've been learning in the class is leading yourself. And someone gave me a quote I want to share with you from the founder of the Visa credit card company, D. Hock. I think that's a little ironic, isn't it, that the credit card company guy's last name is Hock, since he put a lot of it in it. But Mr. Hock said, leading yourself is at the top of his list of leadership essentials. He believed that those who want to lead have to invest at least 40% of their time leading themselves, managing their own purpose, ethics, principles, motivations, and conduct. Leading yourself is a prerequisite to trying to lead others. And I think that it's important that you do that for so many reasons. And one is, as you lead, people who are following you, who are working with you, will notice one thing above all else, that's inauthenticity. If you're not authentic, people won't believe you, people won't trust you, and won't follow. And no matter how many leadership courses you take, or how hard you think about it, books you read, if you don't come across and indeed be authentic, then you can't really lead others. So I urge you to continue the work you've started in this class to learn about yourself, so that you can lead others. So where do you go from here? Obviously, you're energetic and driven, or you wouldn't be in this class. I'm so glad you're willing to take on the challenge of being an emerging leader. It's easy for a lot of people today to step back from that challenge and to say, why do I need it? Because contrary to myth, you probably aren't going to make a lot more money to become a supervisor. If you look at the pay scales, there's not a huge difference between the 12 and the 13, then the 13 and the 14, then the 14 and the 15, etc. And indeed, many of today's senior executives make less money than the grade 15s. So it's not just about money. It's got to be about something else. It's got to be about the mission, and it's got to be about your desire to be a leader, to help achieve that mission. And I also like to close by saying that leadership and management are not the same thing. There are lots of people in this agency, and in the world for that matter, of course, who are leaders without a formal position. And there are lots of people with formal management positions who really aren't leaders. We need both. Management's important, but if you can lead as well as manage, you're really going to be successful. And what's the distinction? Well, lots of people study that, and I'm sure Craig and the other people who are in the professional business of teaching and coaching for leadership probably have better definitions than I do. But to me, I've come to believe one thing may stand out, and that leaders convince and managers demand. You can't demand respect, you can only command respect. You can't demand respect, you can only earn respect. And I think it's the same thing for leadership. You can't demand that people follow you. It's more about convincing people, inspiring people to the extent that you can do that. That's important. And that's what distinguishes a leader. I'm not going to pretend that I've mastered that or any of the other senior leaders in APHIS. We're all growing, still trying to learn, I hope. But I hope that you will take advantage of the training you just had and the desire you clearly have to be a leader to continue to understand that distinction between leadership and management and move toward always being the leader as you go forward in your career. So again, I thank you all very much for inviting me. Dr. Fernandez was at your opening event, and he asked me to pass on his best wishes to everyone, as did Dr. Parham, who remains on his extended detail as the Assistant Secretary for Administration for the Department of Agriculture. So on his behalf, again, I congratulate you, thank you, and urge you to have great success throughout your career. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Shea, for your remarks and best wishes to our graduating class here today. We will take a short 5-minute break and resume in 5 minutes for the presentation of the Advanced Leadership Development Program Staff Reflections and Graduating Class. We will start promptly in 5 minutes. Please stay on the line. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll go ahead and resume our program. Webster's Dictionary defines a reflection as a thought, an idea, or opinion formed or a remark made as a result of meditation or deep thought. Throughout this program, participants have been asked to provide their own leadership reflections to various competencies addressed and or modules delivered as a method to processing, absorbing, and applying what they have learned. At this time, I'd like to invite our ALDP learning assistants to provide their own reflections of the graduating class. I'd first like to introduce Mr. Todd Sazdoff. Todd?
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate this opportunity to speak about my experience this year with the Orange team. So I'll start by saying, go Orange family. And that is exactly what this team has become. It really has been a magnificent journey. What strikes me most profoundly about this team this year is how quickly they coalesced into a unified cohort, despite lots of variables that could easily have gotten in the way and derailed them on their course through this journey. But they championed their common mission, and they chose to leverage their myriad strengths and manage around the differences. Really a true exemplification of what cultural transformation is about at its core. And this was no easy task, especially if you were here earlier as they reported out on their project, that they wrestled with the proposition of not delivering on what they were asked to do. To truly dive into the adaptive challenge and see what had gotten in the way of a strategic plan existing or not existing in this case for many years. They could have done the technical work of drafting a plan, but instead displayed courage and true leadership that resulted in a way forward for all those that do work with ESF 11. Ultimately, I think which will be the right decision for all parties involved. They learned and took to heart the idea that was taught about leadership in the adaptive leadership section that said leadership is about disappointing people at a rate in which they can handle it. And I think they did that very well. I am humbled and proud to have been a part of the journey and watching them struggle with their many challenges and barriers, yet emerging triumphant in the end. If this team is what the future of APHIS is about, sign me up. I'm going to follow these guys wherever they want to take us. Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations.
Hello everyone, my name is Veronica Zabala, a Senior Training Specialist at the Professional Development Center in Frederick for APHIS PPQ. My role for ALDP was as a learning assistant in training with the Orange team and producer for this event. The opportunity to work in ALDP has been very exciting for me, especially the opportunity to work on a virtual graduation. Orange team, your presentation was outstanding. And also Purple team and Yellow team, you did great as well. I have enjoyed seeing all teams grow and develop during these 9 months. I have grown as well. You analyze situations, applied new and old skills and knowledge to come up with recommendations, and overcoming the challenges of personalities, working styles, and of course distance. So congratulations to all. I wish you lots of success on your careers. And now I will turn it over to Pandy.
Thank you, Veronica. Yes, my name is Pandy Tomko, and I had the privilege of being a learning assistant for the Yellow team. So for me, you know, one of the best ways to learn is to really challenge myself, whether it's on a personal or a professional challenge, you know, maybe to learn a new skill or a specific competency, or whether to learn something new about leadership. Learning is really essential for my success. And it has been essential for your success in this program. You took the challenge of the ALDP and were successful at completing this 9-month program. As Pat said earlier, I think he mentioned that this was a very robust program that you all participated in. You were really faced with a lot of challenges along the way, and I witnessed your personal learning on this leadership journey. So I just want to say that it's been a pleasure to watch you tackle those challenges and realize your potential. I wish you all the best, and I challenge you to always keep learning, inspire others, and make a difference in this world. So congratulations on your accomplishment. I'm going to now turn it over to Sarah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a pleasure working with you all. It's been great to watch you grow both personally and professionally over the past 9 months. I'm very proud of your accomplishment, and I wish you all the best as you continue on your journey and as you discover the path that leads to your future. And to end with a bit of a humorous quote, and hopefully a quote that will give you guidance as you go forth as leaders, and inspired by one of my favorite presidents. I'm a little biased because I'm from Gettysburg, but Dwight Eisenhower said, "You do not lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership." So go forth and prosper and become the great leaders of tomorrow. Oh, I'm passing it over to Gary now. Sorry.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. I want to read you a short excerpt from a book, and this book is written in first person. And for me, it is what I had hoped to get out of the program and have gotten out of it, and hope to look to the future. And this excerpt kind of illustrates that, and it's what I hope for each one of you. This is from The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. Men first walked on the moon during the summer of 1969 when I was 8 years old. I knew then that pretty much anything was possible. It was as if all of us had been given permission to dream big dreams. I was at camp that summer, and after the lunar module landed, all of us were brought to the main farmhouse where a television was set up. The astronauts were taking a long time getting organized before they could climb down and walk on the lunar surface. I understood. I was patient. But the people running the camp kept looking at their watches. Eventually, while smart decisions were being made on the moon, a dumb one was being made here on Earth. All of us kids were sent back to our tents to go to sleep. I was completely peeved. The thought in my head was this: my species has landed in a new world for the first time, and you people think bedtime matters? When you're putting people on the moon, you're inspiring all of us to achieve the maximum of human potential, which is how our greater problems are eventually solved. Give yourself permission to dream. Fuel your kids' dreams too. Once in a while, that might even mean letting them stay up past their bedtimes. That's the end of the excerpt. You have just completed an intense 9-month preparation. You are now ready to start your new journey. Put yourself back to when you were 8 years old. What were your dreams? And what are your dreams now? And when you think of those dreams, think about those around you, the people you work with. If you're moving up to manager, to executive, think about those people around you. What are their dreams and how you can help them get there? And when working with them and with APHIS, remember, sometimes bedtimes don't matter. Thank you, and I will pass it on to Brooke.
Okay, thanks, Gary. You're a tough act to follow. What I'd like to say, and I'm addressing the entire group here, is I'm so impressed with the dedication of this group. I was one of the learning assistants for the purple team. I got to know my 6 the best. However, this message, like I said, it's for everyone. Your dedication, it's just, you guys called in from vacation like when you were in Costa Rica. You constantly called in. You're on right now when it's the middle of your night, whether you're in Guam, Pakistan, or wherever your work or personal life has led you. You've called in from airports, hospitals, and while you're on maternity leave. You've called into the VTC when you were too injured to travel, and you've supported your action learning project teams, your own work units. I mean, you are supervisors after all. Your APHIS customers, and most importantly, your families. Your dedication and sacrifices have been amazing, and they're very inspiring to me. I know they are to the staff. And through it all, you guys have been excited probably to be a part of the program, nervous meeting your coworkers face-to-face, probably a little bit confused, frustrated, and I'll speak for my team, probably downright ticked off. But I hope that now, you know, it's 1:52 Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you're starting to feel relief, pleased with your own accomplishments, and very, very proud of yourselves as we are with you. It's been said a million times. I'm going to say it again. It's not what you know or who you know. It's who you are that makes a difference. Be that difference that you want to see in APHIS. And on behalf of the staff, congratulations, ALDP class of 2013. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Craig.
Thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Learning Assistants, for your reflections of this class and how it affected you as well. At this time, I want to remind you to make sure that you have your computer speakers unmuted. And at this time, I'd like to introduce to you the 2013 APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program.
Dr. David Anderson Ashford, Attaché, Islamabad, with International Services.
Specifically, I have been able to achieve the following: a much better sense of myself, strengths, weaknesses, assumptions, style, and how those characteristics serve me or need to be managed in leading others. A strong part of this training includes a better understanding of who we are, how we are perceived, and which of our characteristics and skills can truly help lead the agency forward, and how we can best adjust to be most effective in managing and leading others. A solid network of outstanding and dedicated mid-level leaders from within the agency who form my cohort. These connections and friendships will undoubtedly serve me well for the rest of my career. This network of friends and colleagues would not have been achieved without this course. A vastly expanded armamentarium of skills to better lead others through what is a challenging time for our agency. A certain amount of leadership comes from innate characteristics such as empathy, compassion, integrity, bravery, and confidence, truly wanting to see our employees and the agency progress and succeed, while not being afraid of taking some personal risk. However, a part of leadership can indeed be learned, and, starting only weeks into the program, I began applying certain skills and strategies we were learning. As a result, and in applying these new strategies to my leadership challenge, we have expanded interagency funding from our sister departments to APHIS. We did this in a way that meets the one USG approach while preserving our human and other resources for the priorities of our leadership. A set of very concrete methods to better define vision, mission, objectives, and goals in a way that are critically needed, and a vastly improved trust in myself and my colleagues. I plan to give back to APHIS the following through applying what I have learned and developed over the last year within the ALDP. An expanded access for the agency to resources needed for us to reach our overall mission and that of the department. Increased support of our personnel to ensure their careers and contributions are recognized, valued, and supported. A more efficient, effective, and integrated mode for our team to be meeting APHIS-wide objectives, and superior leadership to ensure the success of our employees and our agency.
Ms. Deborah L. Basinger, Supervisor, Information Technology Division with Marketing and Regulatory Program Business Services.
My ALDP class dovetailed beautifully with the IT consolidation, my transition from the International Services to the IT Division. The ALDP exercises and activities stretched me in new ways and helped me to perceive not only my personal transition, but all of my surroundings from new and different perspectives, and my high scores demonstrated my success. I was able to depersonalize the impacts of the consolidation and to see the process as an evolutionary path towards a new future. I routinely share my new perspectives and apply the principles I've learned in all of my interactions. I want to be the motivated, capable, competent leader, regardless of my position, so I can create the most positive and effective environment for my management, my peers, my subordinates, our customers, and ultimately for myself.
Dr. Todd H. Baer, Coordinator, the National Veterinary Accreditation Program with Veterinary Services.
I've benefited from participating in ALDP by seeing my peers' interpretation of and perspectives on our writing assignments, and knowing that all their takes are correct in the context of this class. Working on our team's Action Learning project revealed how busy, tolerant, and collaborative a group of very different leaders can be. Our webinars enlightened me to a level of interactivity that distance learning can employ and provide a great subject matter as well. My developmental opportunity has afforded me access to and impact on significant high-profile publications in VS. The ALDP's progression from leading oneself to teams to organizations to outside of organizations mimics life itself, except life does not offer explanations at all, let alone in the coherent, buttoned-down fashion of the ALDP staff. Think of ALDP as life in government's fast lane with explanations. I'm giving back to APHIS right now. Forget planning to do it. I've raised my delegation of responsibilities to my subordinates to watch their creativity and job satisfaction bloom. I've tightened up schedules and my own turnaround obligations to bolster stakeholders' trust in me and my program. And lastly, I've let go of the things over which I have no political influence and redirected my energies to the things under my control.
Dr. Kate A. Bowers, Veterinary Medical Officer with Veterinary Services.
Through the ALDP, I have been able to meet colleagues from other agencies within APHIS, study their programs, their struggles and their successes, and have learned that we all share similar frustrations and roadblocks when it comes to change within our agency. The ALDP has given me leadership tools to coach and lead others, leverage diversity, and to engage employees. As a leader within APHIS, I believe in the mission of this agency, have a strong sense of loyalty to its people, and dedication to serve the public. The ALDP has helped me learn how to hone my own leadership style, and I feel I have matured through this process. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to participate in ALDP and appreciate all of the hard work the organizers and my fellow classmates have dedicated in order to make this training truly meaningful.
Ms. Denise Conley, Supervisory SITSI Officer with Plant Protection and Quarantine.
I plan to utilize the tools I have gained in managerial competencies and apply them within the new and modernized SITSI and PPQ programs.
Dr. Joanna Davis, Field Veterinary Medical Officer with Veterinary Services.
First, I would say that the greatest benefit of participating in ALDP are the personal connections I have made with my classmates and the ALDP staff. I appreciate that peers from all different APHIS programs are represented as we all get to collaborate and share information about one another's struggles and accomplishments. ALDP facilitated my development from a supervisor to a manager mindset, particularly the technical versus adaptive leadership techniques. Having completed ALDP, I feel like the adaptive leadership principles really incorporate most of the leadership competencies that were developed through the program. The adaptive approach goes beyond the how-to of accomplishing tasks to incorporate creativity and innovation, political savvy, developing others, and human capital management, partnering, vision, and strategic thinking. By applying what I have learned, I hope to give back to APHIS by more effectively partnering with leaders within and outside of veterinary services to improve the slice of veterinary services over which I have influence. My interests lie in disease management and control and emergency planning, but I feel better equipped now to influence stakeholders and to build bridges with those whom I may be collaborating on a variety of projects.
Mr. William P. Flynn, APHIS Enterprise Infrastructure, ISSM, with Marketing and Regulatory Program Business Services.
ALDP has been a truly eye-opening experience. There are so many aspects of management in a government agency, many of which I was not previously familiar. ALDP does a wonderful job at exposing us to many valuable tools which we can employ in our current jobs as supervisors, and also to get some insights as to how those managers above us go through the decision-making processes. It has been very enlightening to meet many new people in this class and get their insights as to how business is conducted in APHIS from their point of view. Being in ITD, I am primarily in a support role to the program units, but often do not get the chance to see all of the issues and concerns that they have to deal with. Meeting all of these wonderful people, coupled with gaining new tools that ALDP has given us, gives me an entirely new perspective on how to effectively contribute to the mission in APHIS.
Mr. Glenn A. Germain, Director, Administrative Services with International Services.
ALDP has given me practical tools and ideas for helping make the agency more adaptive and responsive. I have also developed a network of ALDP colleagues across the agency that I can contact for advice and support. Just recently, I assumed much broader management responsibilities within international services. I approach my new assignment with greater confidence as a result of ALDP, and feel it has given me new perspectives on management and leadership to address the many challenges that lie ahead. I plan to apply my skills and acquire new ones throughout my career.
Mr. Mark A. Hall, Canine Program Manager with Wildlife Services.
I have learned about the depth and interconnectedness of APHIS, that we are not different divisions, but essentially different parts of the whole. Our skill sets are not used solely to get a job done, but to support each other. I have come to appreciate how delivering is the essence of our job, that trust is not only telling the truth, but also delivering on your responsibilities, knowing when you are not, admitting it, and correcting it. It is easy to define leadership as taking charge, but it is more subtle than that. It is about having everyone on board, valuing their contributions, and knowing that nothing is perfect. If the vision is clear, honest, justified, and compelling, consensus and results can be achieved. In the end, you may not end up where you wanted to go, but instead in a better place. For APHIS, I will provide a more thoughtful, considerate, and innovative form of leadership. I commit to leadership that invigorates the organization, maintains the customer's faith, and values employees as much as the mission.
Dr. Kellyanne Hoke, Import-Export Veterinary Medical Officer with Veterinary Services.
My participation in ALDP has benefited me in several ways. First and foremost, I have learned valuable skills which will assist me in both managing down to my employees as well as managing up to my superiors. These skills include effective means of communication, working outside of my comfort zone, diagnosing and addressing adaptive versus technical problems, and thinking and acting politically. Second, ALDP has allowed me to meet and work with some of APHIS's brightest and best future leaders. I have learned more about the various APHIS programs in the past 9 months than I have in my first 5 years of working for the agency. I have been able to develop relationships with many individuals. I now have valuable resources to call upon when needed. I plan to use all that I have learned as I move forward within the agency. The skills and relationships I have gained over the past several months will make me a more effective leader. In my day-to-day activities, I have already been able to exercise my skills. I am confident that the knowledge I have gained will be extremely useful as I progress. I am enthusiastic and excited for what lies ahead.
Dr. Michael G. McDole, Area Veterinarian in Charge with Veterinary Services.
To express all that I have learned and experienced in the ALDP class in such a limited amount of time is difficult. However, I have learned much about myself, including strengths, shortcomings, and preferences. Further, I have learned how the strengths can be leveraged, the shortcomings improved, the preferences recognized, and how this understanding benefits myself, the people I am privileged to work with, and the agency in moving forward and accomplishing its mission. I have learned so much from the other bright and motivated participants in the program and from the learning staff. The sharing of experiences and knowledge has been instrumental in changing my mindset and expanding my vision from the supervisor level to the managerial level. I have a new appreciation for leveraging diversity and the importance of understanding where people are in their development as employees. I am now better equipped to use that information to provide a more appropriate level of supervision, customized to their needs. I have also learned that trust is the foundation that all interactions are built on, and how trust is built and maintained in an organization. Finally, I am grateful for the opportunity to have participated in the ALDP program.
Mr. Patrick J. McFall, Director, Software Services and Delivery with Veterinary Services.
Having participated in the Advanced Leadership Development Program, I have been able to solidify my current leadership skills and knowledge while developing new ones at the same time. I've also been able to pass on the wisdom of leadership successes and failures attained over numerous years to new and upcoming groups of young leaders, while learning new and innovative ways to address leadership problems in the current economic environment from them. The face-to-face meetings, as always, brought out new ideas, thoughts, and paths to travel that I'll carry with me, as I hope my fellow classmates will carry with them as well.
Mr. Clint McFarland, Project Manager with Plant Protection and Quarantine.
The Advanced Leadership Development Program has helped me learn to utilize leadership concepts and fully comprehend the real challenges within our programs and the agency. This course has helped me gain a much larger understanding of APHIS and our role with our stakeholders, partners, and the community. I have been reinvigorated by seeing the passion, enthusiasm, and intelligence that exists within other parts of APHIS through the individuals I have met in this course. I have gained an insight from this course into how I can better engage employees, forge alliances and partnerships, and creatively look for other ways to approach challenges and to get to the answers. This course should be mandatory for all managers in APHIS. Although it is a large time commitment, ALDP has already started to benefit my work unit and my employees. This course will and has made me a more nimble manager and will assist me in leading APHIS into the future. I sincerely wish to express my gratitude for the opportunity.
Mr. Roberto E. Pantaleon, Agriculture Science Officer with International Services.
The ALDP has benefited me by becoming more aware of my strengths and developmental areas. This awareness has helped me to understand the relationships and concerns among coworkers and stakeholders. Based on the line of work I'm doing in APHIS, I'm planning to use what I learned during the ALDP to try to influence more our stakeholders' network and forge alliances with them to strengthen our relationship and adapt to ever-changing situations in support of the APHIS mission.
Ms. Elizabeth W. Pentico, Supervisory PPQ Officer with Plant Protection and Quarantine.
My participation in the Advanced Leadership Development Program has expanded my knowledge and professional network beyond my program area into a much broader awareness of APHIS. Additionally, it has provided me recognition of and a developing skill set in managerial competencies required in my profession. I believe that as I go forward, I will be able to be more creative in my solution of problems, generating innovative solutions that are applicable in a broader agency context. I also feel that I have enhanced my credibility, both in terms of understanding APHIS program delivery and in the tools and behaviors a manager employs. That increase in my credibility relates directly to an increase in credibility of the agency as I interact with stakeholders and industry partners. The net result is, I am more competent in my job and more likely to stretch myself to perform at the next level of management.
Dr. Mark C. Prescott, Agricultural Attaché with International Services.
I have found the APHIS Leadership Development Program to be a very rewarding program. It has allowed me to meet a number of highly qualified, dedicated individuals who I most likely would not have had the opportunity to meet. At APHIS, we have a broad and diverse workforce that allows us to do the great work that we do. I truly enjoy the opportunity to discuss issues of leadership and vision with this group of wonderful individuals from across APHIS's programs. On top of the opportunity to meet the people in the program, I was also happy to learn many tools that will be helpful in my current position as well as in my career going forward. From all that we've read, leadership is a complex skill that is seldom practiced. My hope for myself and for my fellow members of the ALDP is that we will seize upon the little opportunities, and maybe a few of us the large ones, to practice leadership every day and make APHIS a stronger, more dynamic workplace that meets the needs of the 21st century.
Dr. Jean Ray, Area Epidemiology Officer with Veterinary Services.
Participating in the APHIS Leadership Development Program has greatly increased the scope of my understanding and vision of government in general, and VS in particular. I've learned and put into practice many of the manager-level competencies, both improving my performance as a supervisor and preparing me for the future as a manager and leader in APHIS. I feel much better prepared to deal with the coming reorganization and well-positioned to help when and where my talents may be needed.
Mr. Greg Rentschler, Supervisory SITSI Officer with Plant Protection and Quarantine.
Leadership skills are an important aspect in every level of an organization, including APHIS. ALDP has given me the necessary knowledge and tools to excel as a leader in APHIS. I will continue to learn and adapt to improve my leadership capacity and give back to APHIS what it has given to me.
Mr. Jason Rood, Area Manager with Investigative and Enforcement Services.
ALDP has provided me the opportunity to network with APHIS's future leaders. The program has challenged me to further develop the leadership competencies of political savvy, strategic thinking, and partnering. I've already experienced instances where I have successfully implemented these learnings within the training and in my agency. I look forward to additional opportunities to utilize the skills I've gained within IES to further the effectiveness of my own area and to the benefit of APHIS.
Once again, our heartfelt congratulations to each of the graduates today with us. To close out this 2013 Advanced Leadership Development Program graduation ceremony, I'd like to make a few brief closing comments. Graduates, I hope you take the knowledge, skills, and experiences you've acquired over the past 9 months and carry it back to your programs and staffs and share your new skills and insights with others. Take advantage of the opportunities that will present themselves to you, as well as actively seeking out the ones that have yet to be presented. As you continue your own efforts to grow as leaders, you can also play a key role in helping develop others within the organization. As you share new insights, you help to continue the growth of a high-performing organization that places a high value on performance, customer service, diverse leadership, and continual learning. In addition to the leadership knowledge you've acquired, you've also gained new knowledge of APHIS activities and staff across program organizational boundaries. Continue to utilize your resources across those program areas. Stretch your boundaries in accomplishing the mission of APHIS. So please, take a moment today to recognize your considerable achievements and think about how you will use your new skills in the days to come. To the APHIS Advanced Leadership Development Program Class of 2013, congratulations and good luck. And at this time, this will end our graduation ceremony. Congrats, everyone.